Serial killers in Great Britain are very rare. Um, I'm just reading the bits of the Lucy Letby case. You're talking 135 years since the days of Jack the Ripper, and I think there's been about 40 since then. Back then he was a freak. Today I probably suppose he would be an amateur. I did a book which is probably 70% about Jack the Ripper. There's something about Whitechapel, and I kind of asked a lot of questions. Why the interest? Why does the human mind find atrocities such as the Autumn of Terror interesting? These days, you've got 283 Waterstones across Great Britain, and if you go in any of them shops, and you ask what's the most popular selling genre, I can assure you it's true crime. But is that any different to Jack the Ripper's days, when Annie Chapman was murdered on Hanbury Street, and the neighbours were hiring out the room so people could look at the murder sites for a penny? I think that was the start of murderabilia, if you like. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why, but I mean myself. Listen, I will hugely admit to being fascinated by such cases, and I don't think that will ever stop. Certainly in our lifetime, you're looking at the Ripper murders being 135 years on, and I mean I was there a year ago, and I had a look, and I think I was walking up Brick Lane or somewhere, and I had a look, and I counted 9 different groups. So if you walk around Spitalfields Market or Whitechapel or Shoreditch on an evening, 7 days a week, you will find people grossly interested in hanging on to a leader's every word and finding out. And I did this book because I never wanted it to be. Listen, I think I started off the book by saying, first of all, I'm not an expert. Them kind of people go to like that tag goes to like your Richard Jones, your Paul Beggs, your Martin Fidos, God rest him, Lindsay Civitas, Edward Stowes, the real hardcore, the Ripperologists. Clues in the name. It's people who make a living from studying um, the murders. And I could never hold a torch to them. But what I could do is my passion is can hold a torch to any of them. I just don't know that much about them. And I started this book off by saying, listen, I'm not an expert, but why the interest? Why is Jack the Ripper punk bands in France? Why is the films? Why is the documentaries? Why is the tours? Why is there a whole industry built up on, no one even knew what Jack the Ripper looked like, yet here there's £1 million a market of figures getting sold, and of a guy in a cape and a hat carrying a Gladstone bag. And reality is, he never looked anything like that. And the fog, don't forget, you must have the fog when talking about Jack the Ripper. It's just in the small print. But the weather wasn't like that on any of the murders. But it's all falls into mythical folklore snowballs, and it's not season anytime soon. So my take on the Whitechapel murders is in a book called There's Something About Whitechapel. And I've interviewed the experts. As I said, I'm not an expert, but people like your Lindsay Civitas, your Paul Beggs, your Richard Jones, your Edward Stowes. Apologies if I've just forgot to mention you there. I just woke up. I'm on night shift tonight. They're the experts. They're the hardcore. They are the elite. And they're more than qualified to discuss it in great detail. I'm just trying to think of some more names, but I can't. But anyone who fancies getting the teeth into There's Something About Whitechapel, I give that name for my hero. He stood on the stage 2005, and he said, "There's something about Whitechapel, not much, but something." And of course, that was Morrissey. So I'm going to put the link in the bio to buy the book. It's available on Kindle for anyone who's wants to, a bit of a skinflint, doesn't want to buy the paperback. And yeah, I'm very proud of it. It's a book that, you know what, I would have done for free. I'm just, I always have been that obsessed. I started getting obsessed with Jack the Ripper when I was probably about 11, and then I kind of started studying the Cray twins and the East End of boxing, and Jack Spot Comma and all this kind of thing. And there's so many magical things on the East End. You either get it or you don't get it. And if you look, to quote Richard Jones, if you look hard enough, the East End's still there. And if you quote Paul Begg in this book, he said there is something really magical about the East End. So there's something about Whitechapel. I'm going to put the link in the bio. Anyone fancies that holiday read? There you go.